Welcome to my video on the Reolink video doorbell. In this video I'm going to start off by showing you what's in the box and what comes with it, and then we're going to move on to talking a little bit about how the app works and the browser, how you can get to the settings in the browser. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the wiring of my old push doorbell, and then I'm going to show you how I installed it on the front door with and without the wedge in place. So let's get going. Just to say that I purchased this video doorbell myself. I purchased it just before Christmas, and at the moment of making this video it looks like it's on offer at £89.99 with a 5% voucher. So at the moment it looks like it's around £85. I think it's normally around that sort of price. You'll normally find a voucher on the screen or see it kind of reduced, and if you see it at anything over sort of £100, well over £100, then I'd probably wait until it kind of drops in price again. But I will put a link to the Reolink video doorbell in the description below. So to start off with, we just want to check out what actually comes in the box. Now it's slightly different depending on whether you buy the Wi-Fi version or the Power over Ethernet version. We get a lot more things in the box, such as the plastic wedge, so you could use that. I'm thinking about actually 3D printing a degree downwards so I can see things. If I can't see anything at the foot of the door like parcels, I'm thinking about that. Adding that, but we'll see what it looks like. We've got some extension sort of clips here if your cables coming out of your wall outside for your original doorbell aren't long enough. We've also got some extra double-ended clips here as well. The amount of stuff in this packaging is amazing, really. And then you've got a short Ethernet cable here as well, because don't forget we've got a LAN on this one as well. We've got some raw plugs and some screws and things in there as well, and of course the metal back plate as well, which is all important because that's obviously the first thing that we'll be kind of installing. There is also a very large box of information that comes with it as well. If we can get all this out. So we've got a back plate here for where the screw holes need to be. That's quite important. Very good of them to put that in. There's lots and lots of tips in here, a really big instruction booklet as well, which I haven't read, in 5 different languages, and a little book for the chime, which I haven't shown you, and just UK declaration stuff. Here is the chime that I'll be using as well, that comes with it, which is really nice. Volume, and you can change the sound of the ring as well, but I'm also going to be using it in Home Assistant and through the Echo Dots as well throughout the house. I think the best thing to do is to have a go at setting it up yourself on the bench and set all the settings so you're ready to go as soon as you plug it in at the front door. So what you need to do first of all is get this short connector here with the 2 prongs and just screw those into the 2 contact points on the back here. And then if you want to, you could either use the short cable, or if you wanted you could use the really long cable, because it's got the same 2 bits to it and the extender there. And then get your power supply and just slot those in together. So then plug it in anywhere you want in the room, next to your computer, next to your laptop, whatever, and then turn it on. I would also get the SD card in there as well, and make sure that's working okay, as you don't want to be taking it on and off the wall outside while you're trying to fit it. Make sure it's formatted correctly in the software, in the Reolink software, and then get it working either on your mobile or get the app working and get it working in a browser if you want to go that route as well before you start installing it. So as I said at the beginning, I'm not going to go into the full hands-on install of the doorbell in the apps, but what you need to do is you need to download the Reolink app for your phone, and then add the doorbell basically to the app and set it all up, create an account on there, log in, everything like that. And then once you've added the doorbell to the app, I would recommend setting up the chime as well while you've got it all in the house, so that you can hear the chime and make sure that works before going outside and installing the doorbell itself. And then from within the app, there are so many settings in here. You'll be forever going through all of these, but there's display settings, audio settings, FTP, you can email yourself, notify yourself, recording audio, setting up the status lights, anything like that. There is so much in here, detection zones, blah blah blah. It's all in here. But if you don't want to do it all inside the app, you can actually log on in a browser to the doorbell as well. So go to the IP address of the doorbell. Should be able to find that out from within the app or from within your router. And then you'll see this login page. Basically, you can log in, and then you will see all of the settings that are in the app and probably more in your browser. And it's a lot easier to work with to set up all the statuses and the sort of motion detections and settings and timings and things like that. So that's worth looking at. So getting back to the install itself. So don't forget to turn off the electrics first before you do any work. My doorbell is connected to my downstairs lights, so I turned off the downstairs lights first. My doorbell, my original mains powered doorbell, which was working off of the lighting circuit, was a Grother, whatever you want to call it, 169TR, and this is what it looked like when it was working. With an old kind of manual push doorbell with one wire at the top and one at the bottom. So moving the wire from the bottom position up to the second position, as you can see here, the difference worked really well for the Ring doorbell, and it was happy on 8 volts, and I had no issues with it whatsoever. But that was not the case with the Reolink, and I'm going to talk a bit more about transformers and things towards the end of the video. What we're going to do now is just take the Ring doorbell off and put the Reolink in, and then we'll get on to talking about transformers. So I'm starting off outside with the Ring screwdriver to take the security screw out from underneath, and then I am just going to remove it. It's quite snug in there because I printed my own 3D printed wedge and kind of cover, and then once I've got the front off, I just need to take the front screws off from the top and the bottom in order to take the Ring doorbell completely off. Nothing wrong with the Ring doorbell, I just didn't like paying the subscription price in order to access the footage. Really, now I've got the footage on the SD card internally, and I've got it being sent to my internal NAS device as well. I've got so many holes already in this wood surround from the original doorbell and the Ring doorbell. I thought I'd just try and not create more holes, so I tried to line it up with at least one hole that was already there. So luckily I found one, so a screw in the top and a screw in the bottom. For me, it's just into wood surround, so it's really easy. If you were into anything else, then you'd want to drill and obviously use a raw plug as well. Remember to have the blue sticky part at the top, because the doorbell sits into that, slides on that, and then clips in at the bottom. So once I'd done that, I found out that my original wires were just about long enough to actually screw directly into the doorbell, so I didn't need the extensions, luckily enough, although they did kind of keep moving around a bit, so it's worth kind of trying to have like 2 hands on them really, to screw them directly in. They're not as good as the kind of fork tongue connections that you get in the packet. These are just wires that are wrapped around the screws where I'm trying to hold them in place. But in the end I got there and got it screwed in. Then it's just a matter of sliding onto the top and then clipping it on the bottom, and then just removing the protective film. When you turn it on, it'll start flashing up. Obviously you should have already set all this up really, as I said before at the beginning, in the house, just to make sure it's all working, but it should just boot up as normal and start working kind of straight away and connect to your router if you've already set it up. You can then open the app up and have a look inside that and just check that it's sort of working okay. There you go, and then we're getting a live feed out of it. And you can check the angles as well to see if you've got it set up correctly, or you might need the wedge fitting if you're a bit like me and you've got too much brick wall kind of thing on the left hand side showing. So I did end up using the wedge in the end. The flat side needs to be against the wall. You get a couple of longer screws into there through the wedge, and then the shorter screws go into the wedge itself. And then on top of that, as you can see, the faceplate, the metal faceplate then goes on top. For me then, the original wires weren't long enough, so I did have to use the extensions. Really easy to use. Just make sure on the extensions, on the black parts, they've cut through them for you, but you need to pull off some of the protective wrap on the wires so it shows the whole wires, all of the wires, so that you can link them to your wires and then screw the caps on, the blue caps on top. Then you've got the fork tongue connectors to just wire up to it. And once I've done that, I've got a lot better view, less view of the wall and more of the door as well. So it turns out that the Reolink was fine on the 8-volt setting that I'd already got it during the day. There was no problem with it during the day. But at night time, when it came to putting the infrared on and doing various other things, it was not happy on that voltage, and you could hear it clicking sort of in and out in the evenings. Now I knew then that something was wrong. Sometimes you couldn't connect to it. It was very wishy-washy, the connections. So I knew something was wrong. So I knew I was going to have to probably upgrade the transformer. So where did I go first? Well, of course I went to Screwfix and saw what everyone else was installing, and so everyone else was buying the BG Bell transformer that could output 8 volts, 12 volts, 24 volts, and also the Wilex kind of DIN rail casing as well. So I went out and tried those, went out and bought that, installed it all, started off with it on 24 volts, and it was fine. Within about 8 hours, the whole transformer started to buzz. I then moved it across down to 12 volts, which I knew would still be okay on the Reolink. Again, it was still buzzing. Now, this has been mentioned loads of times on the Screwfix website in the review section, that these BG Bell transformers are fine for some doorbells, possibly even the Ring doorbells, but they are not good enough for the Reolink doorbells. And what you'll find is if you're getting this buzzing, one, it's very annoying, and two, it may mean that this unit may fail after a certain amount of time because it is still not good enough for the Reolink doorbell, but you might be fine on other doorbells, other manufacturers. Right, so I've removed the other transformer, the buzzy BG Screwfix transformer, which it turns out isn't really rated for this. The Reolink really wants 30 voltage amps, and that only outputs the Screwfix one 8 voltage amps, so it's not high enough, and that's why these things are buzzing and going wrong really. So I've taken it out. I've looked online for other ones, and you can get other rated ones, but I happened to find in my drawer an old LED driver from some lights. So hopefully you can see on here, as I'm on a ladder moving around, that I'm actually going to use the kind of 24 volts DC output on here, and that seems to be running at the moment in daytime. It seems fine. I'm just going to see what it's like in the evening when it comes to put the infrared on and try and record and trigger other things. But at the moment, obviously, it's completely silent, which is good. It will still fit in the DIN rail box, which I'm probably still going to use because it's quite small. Alternatively, what we could have done, and I'd thought about this actually, it's quite a cheap thing to do. I've actually got an earth in here. So what I could have done was put a plug socket and just cut in a back box and put a plug socket in here, and then actually use the 3-pin transformer plug socket that came with the Reolink and just connect that up to the bell wires. That wouldn't be a problem. The only thing you would have then is you would have the plug obviously sitting outside of a plug socket, but then it would just be a matter of trying to box it in really to make it look a bit nicer. whether I'd 3D print a box or try and find a box that I could sort of cut up, like an IP66 rated box that's got a front cover on it and something like that. But we'll see how this goes. So in the end, I ended up putting the whole doorbell box back on the wall. As you can see, they've got a little bit of painting to do because it wasn't screwed very well into the wall. So I moved it around a little bit. But otherwise, it is now working absolutely perfectly at night time and daytime, and hasn't been an issue at all with the LED driver that I installed. And I'll show you the LED drivers in here. So there is the LED driver inside the now sort of defunct doorbell box, but I managed to get it in here okay, and it's now kind of hidden away, and it just looks like the original doorbell on the wall, and also could be wired up if I decide to remove it or you know, sell the house, etc. Right, so that's it for the install video. Thanks very much for watching if you managed to get all the way through it. It was a bit arduous, wasn't it, with all the transformers and things there at the end. But overall, the Reolink Doorbell is a very good doorbell with lots of added features. And one thing that makes it great is you're not paying a subscription model like you do with the Ring doorbells. And that's the main reason why I chose it. But do remember that you need to make sure you've got the right transformer, the right electrical power going to the Reolink doorbell, or you may come across problems. Don't forget that there is lots of help online on the Reolink website about installation, and here's a little bit here about the different voltages and amperages and things that you need, and the wiring, etc. So have a look at that if you're sort of a bit confused by that. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching the video. If you did like it, give us a like, and don't forget to leave a comment below, and please subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber already, and I'll see you soon.